Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host of Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut, and please, of course, subscribe and like this video. This channel is now 4 subscribers, count them, 4 subscribers away from 4,000. And if you're coming in here for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you can be first to watch a video. And we have a lot of fun here, believe it or not. We kind of like to sort of talk about things before everybody else does. Let's talk about, well, I know the Mets lost 2 out of 3 to the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins are a playoff team. They're going to win the division in the American League Central. After they've been sort of a below 500 team for a good portion of the year, they've taken hold of that division. And they're very good. They have very good pitching. I was very impressed with Pablo Lopez, who the Mets have owned, especially when he's been in Miami. The Mets just owned him in Miami, especially last year. He's beat the hell out of him last year. So I guess it's kind of nice to see the guy have a good game. But he got the no decision, so that happens with a lot of players. They'll play well and then they don't get the ultimate result, but. They lost 2 out of 3. They played basically how they're supposed to play, and that's not a very good team. Couple of things, sort of before we get into the crux of this. Mets need pitching. That's been the problem all year long. They need a lot of starting pitching. We'll talk a lot about that in the offseason. I know the Mets scouts were in Japan on Friday, and they watched Yamamoto pitch that no-hitter along with the Yankees. And believe it or not, the Royals. The Kansas City Royals are interested in him. I don't know how they're going to pay for him, but they have scouts watching him. Keep an eye on this Amanga, another Japanese pitcher that is a lefty. He's 30 years old, going to get posted. They could use another starter that's here in the States, obviously, in North America. Keep an eye on Aaron Nola's a free agent. Keep an eye on Corbin Burns. He was part of this no-hitter. The Brewers pitched a no-hitter into the 10 innings against the Yankees, and they lost the game in 13 innings. That's baseball for you, But Burns pitched well. Keep an eye on him. Maybe he gets moved. Now, I go into this thing about the Brewers is because the Mets are going to be hiring a new president of baseball operations. And the rumor is, in all likelihood, and there doesn't seem to be any other candidates, and that is David Stearns, who is an executive with the Brewers, who is the hell, damn plane. You never know what's going to happen here. That might be David Stearns now flying in for his final interview with Mets owner Steve Cohen. But he is going to be probably, in all likelihood, the president of baseball operations. And the Mets have already begun the process of firing people. They fired a whole bunch of people in the front office. At least 4 people. And interestingly enough, a lot of times when that happens is when they bring in new people to sort of run the thing and run the show. Now, one of the things that I've read about with David Stearns is he did not hire Craig Counsell in Milwaukee when he took over. The former general manager prior to him, Doug Melvin, he hired Craig Counsell. Now, Craig Counsell is going to be a free agent manager in the offseason. He's an excellent manager. No one can ever, go against the fact that he's done a good job in Milwaukee. But I bring the managers up because Buck Showalter has a 3-year contract with the Mets. But the reality is the first year he managed great with this team, but this year's been a bit of a mess from top to bottom. Now, I don't place the blame on him squarely. I think this was a collective issue. I would mention that, like I said, the Mets need starting pitching. And I go back to the starting pitching. We know that the Mets starters that they had here, Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, did not pitch great here. They didn't pitch to their reputations. And if you notice, if you're following along with Houston and Texas, they've sort of carried that down there. So they have not pitched well even down there. They've been very, mediocre for them. Very mediocre and average. So this sort of goes across the board. I'm not putting blame on any one single person. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. They didn't play well in June. Now you see the bullpen's been terrible. What's the ERA in the last month for the Met bullpen? Over 6. Although their starting pitching has been really good. Senga has been great. Quintana has been really good. Peterson and McGill have pitched much better since they've come back in AAA. But if they had pitched better when the Mets needed them in April and May, they wouldn't have had the kind of June they had, and they wouldn't have had this sort of collapse in June. So this is sort of goes across the entire spectrum when it comes to the Mets. Who is to blame? It's just not one person. It was just a bad mix this year. And I don't go into this toxic clubhouse, like Pete Alonso's toxic, none of that. It just didn't work out. But they need some things. We know about it. We're talking about the manager here. So, Buck, we can go into detail. You can leave comments about this or that. I don't get too worked up about bullpen usage. Who we brought in, who we didn't bring in. I would mention that the team's played hard, but they have had moments, especially lately with the young guys here. But I would mention that they sort of have been very lackluster, especially after the trade deadline. That goes on the manager, not to be able to keep their energy up. But I'm going to give you about 7 or 8 candidates here that could replace Buck if Stearns comes in here and decides, you know what, I want to hire my own guy. And this is a list, and I'm sure there'll be other names that I'll find, but this is a very early list from the New York Post. I don't know if I prescribe to this entire list, but we'll read some of it to you. This is from John Heyman. John Heyman, Joel Sherman, it doesn't matter. Are they like brothers? They're kind of like very similar in a lot of ways. They work for the New York Post, they work for MLB.com, MLB, they're on TV. You can't get them to shut up. They're the same guy. I never seen them in the same place at the same time. But all right. Number 1, they mentioned Bob Melvin. Now, he's the manager of the Padres. According to Heyman, Melvin's a terrific manager, but things aren't working out in San Diego. Ain't that the truth? He's been there 2 years. They have a leadership problem, which is within the players. Mets tried 2 years ago, but he preferred the Padres for geographical reasons. Melvin is very close to council, incidentally. Now, I would mention about Melvin. Melvin was in the Met front office for a couple of years. I think after he left Arizona, when he was the manager of Arizona, he left there, and he became like the guy in the Met front office. He applied. I think he applied. He tried to get the job at the Mets back when Terry Collins was hired, and then he went on and moved to Oakland for a few years, and he was the A's manager for a long time. Then we have another guy from Oakland. They mentioned Eric Chavez, the Mets bench coach. If the Mets had a better season, I think Eric would be a very good candidate. So I don't know if he's the right fit right now, because he was part of this mess that was here. So I don't know if he's the right name. I don't know if he's the right person for the Mets, to be honest with you. I'll be very honest with you. I don't know. Okay, a couple other guys, and he has no experience. So I don't know. Now, 3 of the guys on this, they give 7, but there's really 6. 6 on this list. Weird. Or you could keep Buck. You could keep Buck for another year. Number 3 on this list, and there's the next 3 guys on this list, according to John Heyman, have absolutely no experience. Do you want a guy that has no experience, like the Mets had with Mickey Callaway and Luis Rojas? Joe Espada, the well-respected Astros coach, seems destined to get a job next season. He's been destined to get a job for the last 10 years. Really. I mean, when is he going to get a job? And what has he ever done? I know you got to get your first job, but can he handle New York? I don't know. Number 4 on this list, Pat Murphy. I wouldn't know Pat Murphy if I fell on him. The Brewers bench coach and Council's right-hand man was once a finalist for the Mets job. I guess that's when Buck got the job, right? I wouldn't know that guy if I fell on him. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, the last 2 are very interesting names, and one has no experience. The once and future manager of the New York Mets, Carlos Beltran. According to this, Mets fans might like it. They move past the strikeout look, and he's got to bring that up. That, again, the media They love to tweak us Met fans. That's not a big deal. Not anymore, anyway. But not to me. It was never a big deal to me. He's, going against Adam Wainwright, possible Hall of Famer. Would you want Beltran to have another chance at this with no experience? Who would be the bench coach? You'd have to get somebody really good. I don't think Terry Collins wants to do it, not after all these years. Not, that's a good, I don't know. Now, he is in the Met front office. And I know that Francisco Lindor worked very hard to get him back in the Mets organization. Now, here's another guy. And I think Beltran was there when, no, he wasn't. Excuse me. I was going to say Beltran was probably there when Stearns was in Houston. Stearns was in Milwaukee when Beltran went back to Houston in 2017. But here's a guy. I don't know how good of a candidate this guy is. A.J. Hinch. He's the manager of the Tigers. Now, we know what kind of manager he is because he won a World Series down in Houston. But he got fired because of the whole nonsense with the Astros. He took a hit. And now he's been sort of in purgatory the last few years with the Tigers. And Stearns knows him from Houston. I guess he was there as an assistant general manager when Hinch got the job. Now, Hinch has been a good manager. But Detroit's a mess. That's not a bad idea. He's got experience. He's still young enough. That's a guy. I'm very much up in the air. I think any number of these guys I would be fine with. I've seen other lists in the past where I'm like, I don't want that, I don't want this guy, I don't want that guy. But I would be fine with any one of these guys. I'd rather go with a guy with experience, obviously. And whether he can handle New York, the big spotlight, that's a big deal. That is a big deal here. But you let me know what you think about this video. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Get me 4 more subs in this channel. Hit 4,000 subscribers. I don't have the bell near me, but you get the idea. Thank you, and I'll see you later.